everyone, and welcome back to UE5 BP Guru. Welcome back to the members episodes, and we are back in our Pokemon multiplayer tutorial. And last episode, we created our battle widget. We haven't set any of these buttons up to do anything yet. We haven't obviously set up the names or the XP or the health or any of that sort of stuff. But today, we're going to just start setting up some of the code for us to work with. And the first thing we're going to do in our battle widget, if we go to the graph, is we're going to set up the event construct ready to begin when we actually start the world up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a get all actors of class, and that actor is going to be our battle proxy. Because we destroy it every time we start a battle, every time we finish a battle, we destroy it, and we always create one when we start a battle. There should only ever be one in the world. So we can do an is valid question mark, because that should spawn in before we spawn in this battle widget. So it should always be valid. If it is valid, we're going to set this to a we're going to promote it, to a variable, and plug that in. And we're going to call that the battle proxy reference. Just to keep everything nice and neat, we'll just drag this down here. Okay, and then the other reference we need to get before we can do anything is we need to cast to the third person character. Plug that in, get player character. And we're also going to promote that to a variable so we can store this information. The reason we're doing that is so throughout the battle, we can basically get all the updated values of our battle proxy and our third person character when we enter that battle. We're also going to do one check is host. So we're going to get the is host. We'll do a branch, and then we're going to have two new functions within this. One being host joining, and we're also going to have joiner joining. So we have a host and our joiner. We'll do the host first. So if you're the host, we need to do a sequence. And we're going to do three things. And we need to get a reference to where's the new variable we just made up? There it is. We need to get our battle proxy reference. And we're going to get the player team. We're also going to get current player index for that one. We're going to copy that reference down just to keep things neat and organized. We're going to get the enemy team, like so, and we're going to get current enemy index as well. And the other thing we need to do is we need to get our battle proxy again one final time, and we're going to get is encounter, and we'll plug that into a branch on the final one. The reason for that is so for me, I keep my capture button separate because I have capture slots for those items, so it makes like a level of extra strategy when capturing stuff. And the one thing I do is that if it's not a wild encounter, what I do is I will set the visibility of that button depending. So if it's true, it's visible. If it's false, it's hidden. That way there's no need to basically code whether they can actually capture something or not. Then we have two more functions. We have set host. No, sorry, I need to create the functions, don't I? So I actually need to do that. So we have a set host health health/xp, and we also have set joiner health/xp. If we go into the first one, which is the set host, like this, I'm going to save just in case I get a crash as well. So always regularly save. We are going to bring in those two variables. So input two variables. So the first one we want is it's going to be our party. You get the party info and set that to a variable. That's going to be our player team. And then the next one is going to be an integer, which is going to be player. Should be party, but I've called it player index. It's fine. And if we go back to the host joining, we can pull this out, plug that into the first, and we can plug those both in like that. The set joiner is going to be set up exactly the same. So we're going to click two of those. We'll change the top one to the party info and set that to a array, and we'll call that enemy team. And it'll be enemy index as well. So go back into the host, and what we need to do now is run this through a for each loop, like so. And we're then going to, oh gosh, click the wrong thing there. Check to see if that is equal to this array element, like so. And we'll do that. We'll plug that in there. And the only thing we want to do is check, basically, we basically need to work out our health and our XP amount. So break this, and the only things we will need is, if we click on this, we can get rid of almost everything except for the XP and our final stats. Those are the two things that we need. And if we break that again, the only two things we need are those health. We need to create two new variables. They are both going to be floats. This one is going to be updated. Oh, I'm not typing. God damn it. Updated P for player, XP percentage. And the next one is going to be updated P health percentage. And we need to do two more of these. One is updated. You probably already understand what's going on. XP. Oh my god, what is wrong with my typing? Percentage. I think I spelled that wrong, but it's fine. Oh my god, what is wrong with me? Updated health percentage. I put percentage. Percentage. There we go. Right. And then we need to set both of these. So the first ones we're going to do is this. We're going to set that and plug in a moment our health and XP. But the first thing we need to do is we need to divide our current XP by our max XP. And that will give us the figure that we need to show the correct percentage from 0 to 1. So with those plugged in, we can compile that. And then we need to do the same thing on the joiner. But what we can do is copy and paste this in, like so, and just plug in the enemy instead. And from this, we can just swap these around, change these to the enemy. So make sure they say E on the joiner, because your joiner, even if you are in a multiplayer battle, the joiner of that battle will always sit the position of enemy. They are the enemy in this fight. The joiner is always the enemy, and the player is always the host. That's kind of how it works. I think I have explained that before. And then with those done, we can plug those new functions. I think I still need to set up the joiner one, to be fair, but that's the wrong one. We want host and joiner. like so. And we'll just set up the joiner one. Should be nice and easy. If we now let's go into host joining. We'll take. Oh gosh, I haven't finished setting up anything, have I? Jesus, what is wrong with me? There we go. Enemy and current enemy. And for the joiner joining, it's going to be a very similar situation. So we'll copy and paste this into the joiner one, like so. You can plug that in there. It'll still do the same check here. I mean, it shouldn't be necessarily important, but because they are sitting still in that front position, you don't want them to have a capture button. Otherwise, it's just going to go through this incorrectly. But what we need to do is just, for this one, unplug this, like so, and just swap these around. So the reason we swap these around is because even though they're the enemy, they're going to be using the host's health and XP section. It's confusing, I know, but just trust the method and the madness that we have to swap these around. Because although this is the host's health and XP, if we look at our designer, this is the host's information here. But we don't want the joiner, because the joiner gets exactly the same HUD. We don't want the joiner's information to be up here, otherwise, and them picking moves down here. We want all of their information to be here. So that's why we flip that. But yeah, I know it says host and joiner, and we have the host and joiner rule, but this is the one exception, is with these widget progress bars and stuff. So with that, that should hopefully set all that up. And now that we have that done, we should, in theory, be able to go into these and create some bindings. These. We should be able to go into these and create some bindings that will show player health and XP. Just before we go, I will set that up. So if we create a binding on this, we'll create the binding. And what we need to do is we'll need to do this twice. So we'll need 2 return nodes, depending. Then from our third-person character reference, we're going to check to see if we are the host. And as I say, this is the one exception to the rule where we're going to have to kind of double up everything, just purely based on who the player is. So a lot of this will double up. So if we are the host, we'll do the host first. We'll get all actors of class, which will be our battle proxy. Because again, don't forget, there's only ever going to be one in that world. We're going to get. And again, check is valid. It's good just to make sure things are valid. Otherwise, you're just going to get errors and stuff. And then from that get, we're going to get the player team. And we're also going to get current party index. We are going to run that through a for each loop, like so. And again, it's just making sure that this is equal to this. And if it is, we can grab the information that we need. Everything else that's not equal, we don't have to worry about. Pull that out, we need a little bit more space. We're going to break this. And from this, the only thing we need is the final stats for this one. So we can get rid of all of this, like so. And then we can break that. And again, the only thing we need is that health, HP and HP max. We're going to do a divide. And we're going to do an F interp 2. And the target is going to be whatever that is. The interp speed I always find works pretty well at 4. but you can change yours to whatever yours is. I think the higher it is, the slower it's going to be. World delta seconds, we need to get those. So put that into the delta time. And then from the current, we're going to plug in that updated P health percentage. Oh, God. Where is it? Health percentage there. Get that. Plug that in there. And then what we need to do before we update our return node is get this and set it so that the next time we do an attack and we need to update that health percentage, it's not going to be incorrect. It will always be updated via this. And then what we need to do is now copy and paste this and do it again. But this time, we're going to do it for the enemy. So we need to change a bunch of these figures up. Now, this is purely, we're doing this purely for multiplayer battles. This isn't for single player battles. This is purely for multiplayer because we need to update depending on who's in that section. So set enemy team. So change that over to the enemy team. Delete that one out. And get current enemy index. And plug that one into there as well. Just tidy everything up as you go. The other one we also need to do is change that enemy health percentage, like so, and change that one as well. And you should find that that now will work whether you're the host or the joiner. Very confusing little setup there, but sadly, there's no real way around that. The one thing I probably could change actually to make this a little bit less is you could use the same get all actors of and put that check a little bit further down, maybe like here instead, but it's fine. That should work for that. So if we go back to the designer and we click on this up here, there's a very fun little trick we can do in the sense that we can actually just copy and paste this exactly as it is, including the branch. Grab everything and chuck it in here. Exactly the same way, but all we have to do is swap those around. So we will check to say, are we the host? If we are checking for the enemy team instead. But if we're not the host, we need to check for the main player. And yeah, you can, if you want to neaten up a little bit, you can just literally do it like this if you want. But it's exactly the same code. It's just doing it the other way around because it's looking for that enemy player instead. So whoever's in this top left corner, whether that's the host or the joiner up there. So it's doing exactly the same thing, just backwards. And the XP, you'll only ever see your own XP. You will, in my setup, you will gain XP for trainer battles. You can change it so you don't get anything for trainer battles if you want to keep it the same as Pokemon. That's fine. But just create a binding and drag it out so you've got some space. Again, it's a very similar setup in the sense that we want to have... Normally you'd think you wouldn't have to do both, but the reason we do have to do both is because, again, potentially the joiner will sit within that space. So we're gonna do this, plug this in, and the only thing we're gonna change is what we're receiving at the end here. So first of all, we're gonna get the player XP and stick that in there. We're gonna get the enemy XP, stick that in there. We also need to update these two here as well, and this one here. And from this, instead of getting the health, what we'll do is we can now get the max and the current and get rid of that final stat, and literally just plug those in, and we can bring this in so it looks a little bit neater. And we've just got to do the same thing down here. Current XP, max XP, get rid of the final stats, and then just plug those straight into there. Now, we can't test the XP at the moment just because we have no way to give XP to our Pokemon, and there's obviously no battling or anything like that in there at the minute. But I'm sure we can test to see if the health shows up. Oh no! Okay, so after that terrible crash and having to having to fix everything, we're back to where we were, and we're now going to test. So if we run over, we'll grab any one. We'll get Bulbasaur. Call him Dave. Dave's been added to your party. Good on you, Dave. Let's go and encounter a wild Pokemon, and hopefully, what we should see is 2 full health bars and our XP bar at 0. That's what we're expecting to see, because at the moment they're all set to random in the middle values. So there we go. Look, so we got full bar, and 0 on the XP, which is exactly what we're expecting to see. Because I don't know if you remember, but if we go back to the battle widget, they are all set randomly. So that's what we would have seen if they weren't working. So the next thing we need to test, it looks like it's working, but we won't know until we test with actual fighting. So we've still got a few things to set up, of course. We'll set the name and the level up for now, and the rest we can set up another time, because then we can get into battling. But at the moment, everything's working as expected. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, leave a like. And as always, thank you so much for being members, and I will see you in the next episode. Much love. Take care. Bye.